Going to section 5, which is on property management. And this is how to manage the managers. Again, you're not going to be the property manager. I never want you doing property management. Your role is asset management, but that means you have to manage the managers. And you have to know how to select the right ones. Now, the reference here is Module 6 in your home study system. Now, to begin on the area of property management, we're always marketing for 3 things: deals, dollars, and clients. Okay? Deals, dollars, and clients. So this is the part about where we're focusing on attracting and retaining qualified clients as residents for our properties. And this is really getting into this section is entitled Property Management, but I really want to talk about asset management, which is where the value is created. That's what this whole program is about, is asset management. And by this point, you know that asset management is different than property management, because asset management it includes property management. It also includes repositioning in the act of innovation. Remember Drucker in that previous slide? Peter Drucker was one that said business is nothing but marketing and innovation. We're marketing to find our residents, and we're adding innovation to creatively position our property, our business, so that it stands out as unique and differentiates itself from the competition. The last thing we want to be is another apartment with white walls and brown carpet. Like 6 million other units across the United States, or 60 million units across the United States. Okay? That's just a Me Too strategy. So, again, the point emphasizing, we are not property managers. We are asset managers. We manage the managers. We add marketing and innovation. The property manager will execute the strategies that we guide them to. But we're not going to depend upon them to be very innovative. And we're not really going to depend upon them to be very adept at marketing, because for the most part, they're not. It's where we provide our value add. Now, to talk about property management, again, this is the day-to-day operation of the business. Recall and think of it this way. At all times, apartments are businesses. They are businesses. They just happen to be heavily secured by physical buildings and physical real estate. But they're businesses. And just like any business, there's 3 functions that have to occur on a daily basis. Number 1, there's client care. I got to deal with my clients. In apartments, it's called maintenance, dealing with the maintenance work orders. The second thing I've got to do with any business is I have to have accounts receivable with apartments. That's collecting the rent. And the third thing I have to have is marketing, which is leasing. And that occurs, that's on a day-to-day, that's the day-to-day things have to be done by property managers. That's the role they serve. But again, the thing I want to emphasize this, so I don't want anyone to be blindsided by this, is the facts are, and I'm going to take a little bit of blasphemy here, property management companies really don't understand. They don't. They think of property management as managing a property. No, we're managing a business. We're managing a business. And so they may do 2 or 3 things for marketing, whereas we're going to do 50 things for marketing. So what we understand, what you understand as a result of this training is, you will understand marketing, and that's bad news for your competition, because that's what's going to help differentiate you from the competition on these properties. So let's talk about property management, how to find them, how to utilize them to really follow your strategies. Now, the most critical component, I'll tell you right now, I've already alluded to it in the few previous slides, is the most critical component is going to be your on-site manager. The on-site manager is the person who's going to be generally the first point of contact from a prospect. It's going to be the person handling the the client issues. They are the ebb and flow of that community. And so for our on-site manager, what are the criteria? Well, number one, they have to be honest. To find someone who's honest. They have to be experienced with a particular class type. Managing a C property is different than managing an A property. They absolutely need to be a people person because they're dealing with people all the time. They need to be able to sell, meaning to lease. And they need to be able to make anyone feel at home. They need to be able to resolve conflicts. They need to be able to collect for us, and actually to the standpoint where they're embarrassed when the money's not being paid. They're embarrassed to report the money's not being paid. They want to feel that kind of tension, so they know how to collect. They need to be able to manage the maintenance staff who are doing the maintenance work orders, and you're looking for someone who's tight with a dollar. That's your ideal on-site manager. That's what you're looking for. Because an on-site manager can make or break a property. Now, typically, an on-site manager is going to be justified on properties of 50, 60 units and above. And we have an on-site manager, but there's also going to be, I need to explain, there's going to be a management company. We're going to hire a management company but they supervise the on-site manager. I'd rather have a lousy supervisory management company and a great on-site manager than vice versa. Because the on-site manager does the day-to-day, the hour-to-hour, the minute-to-minute stuff. They will, like I say, they will make or break that property because they're the pulse. So this is the most critical component. Now, you have some options. You can either hire a property management company that will oversee the on-site manager and let your property management company handle the books. I mean, they're going to pay the bills. Or you can hire a strong on-site manager with experience and you handle the books separately. Because really, strictly speaking, a strong on-site manager knows their business. They're going to take care of business, and you just take care of you or some other resource you assign takes care of paying the bills. Or you can have it done through a supervisory management company. So there's pros and cons to that. I've done both. Frankly, the larger the property, company. If you're just starting off, I would have a supervisory management company and an on-site manager. But the thing is, even if you hire a management company who's going to supervise the on-site manager, there's one stipulation you require. You will be the one, you will always participate in the interview process, and you will have final approval on the on-site manager. Never deviate from this. Never. Because I can tell you, no matter how experienced the supervisory management company will be, they don't feel the pain that we feel if they make a bad hire on an on-site manager. There's no single person more critical than that. And again, we're looking for someone who met the criteria in the previous slide. That's what we're looking for. They've got to be strong, a strong on-site manager. And I can't emphasize this enough. I've got the scars and do's to share with you. This is what's absolutely critical. Whether it's 4 units or, well, you won't have an on-site manager for 4 units, but when you get in above, you have an on-site manager. It's absolutely critical that you have a good one. So, you've got an on-site manager. How do you choose a property management company? Hey, how do you choose someone who's going to supervise them? Well, here's some of the important points. You're going to put them through an interview process. In a moment, I'm going to give you the interview questions. But you're going to ask them questions with regards to their approach to marketing. Because the point I'm making here, business is nothing but marketing and innovation. Virtually every management company I've ever spoken with has too narrow a view of marketing, but I at least want to try to find the ones with the broadest view amongst their peers. I want to ask them, what's your approach to marketing? And if they have, well, we do two things. We run an ad and we stick out balloons, that's not good enough. I want to hear someone tell me they have, they do 3 or 4 different things to market to attract clients. They have some sense of marketing. Now, I'll tell you right now, you're never going to find anyone that will do all the things I'm going to be teaching you here to do, but you want to find someone who's at least open to doing a lot of things in marketing. The other thing we're going to be asking them is a broad point is, can I see samples of your operating reports? Because the way that we're going to manage these management companies remotely is through reports. And we want to see that they have a culture of issue reports. They have extensive reports that they can easily produce. And I've seen everything. I've actually seen management companies who the owner didn't have a computer on his desk. Well, this is probably not going to be a good fit. I mean, if they don't have a culture of using a computer in their office, how in the world are they going to have a culture of sending me reports that I need routinely to monitor my business? And again, in a moment, I'll give you the detailed list of interview questions to ask them. Again, a strong on-site leasing agent with people skills is critical. And the other important point I want to share with you when it comes to selecting property management companies is don't select a management company based on who has the cheapest rate. Management companies are paid as a percentage of collections. It's anywhere from 3% of collections to 10% of collections. As small properties, fourplexes, those get paid 10% of the rent collected. As the properties get bigger, the percent they collect is smaller. Let's say it's, like right now we're paying 3.5%. We're paying 3.5% to the management company, but we pay, in addition to that, we pay the salary of the on-site manager and the on-site leasing staff directly. At the end of the day, you're going to end up paying 10% of your collections for management between a combination of the fee paid to the management company and the salaries you're paying your on-site staff. But don't choose the management company based upon someone who did 3.5% to 4%. That's chasing pennies to lose dollars. Because I would gladly pay someone 4% and even rather pay someone 3.5% or 4% plus bonuses than have someone 3.5%. And I'd much rather pay, I'd be happy to pay bonuses to an on-site manager who keeps my property in excess of 90% full. Because everything above, everything above 80% is 80% is per. And so I'll pay bonuses for someone who can keep my property consistently above 90% economic occupancy. That's where all the wealth is being created. And so that's what we're looking for. That's the approach you want to take, is and give someone, a management company, and give an on-site leasing agent an incentive to go the extra mile to make the property hum. And too many people just miss that. They're about, when these management companies bid against each other for nickels and dimes. It's not worth it. You're actually cutting your own throat when you do that. So, how do you select a property manager? Well, here's the cookbook. First of all, tools you're going to use brokers, access to brokers to get recommendations. You're going to use an interview questions that I'm going to give you, and you're going to use the management reports to guide them. The process is really straightforward. You locate them, you interview them, you choose them, you manage them. That's it. Bingo. This is the cookbook process for selecting them and managing them. But, I say this kind of, lightheartedly, but this is not a lighthearted conversation. This is a critically important aspect of asset management, is choosing the right property management company. So let's look at this. Number one, I'm looking for a management company. How do I locate candidates to interview? How do I locate them? Well, we start with referral. Again, from brokers. Ask brokers. Who are the good property management companies? Who are the best property management companies? You ask other property owners, other colleagues. You check out the local apartment association to find out who's active there. Get referrals. You check out the real estate clubs and get referrals. You check out the commercial clubs, meaning the commercial real estate clubs, and you get referrals. 9 times out of 10, your broker is going to come from a referral. Why do I want a referral? Because a referral, I get better prospects through referrals than just blindly open up a phone book or go onto a website. Now, if you want to go to a website, there's one right here, irem.org, IREM.org. Will give you people who are trained and certified in management. I would gladly, every day, take a referral than someone from IREM who no one knows about. I want to get a referral from someone who knows about this company. Another way I can locate people is I can find out who manages the properties I like. If you are, if you see properties that you like that look like they're being managed well, go check out the sign in the office. They'll have a sign advertising who's managing the property. Contact them. You can also run classified ads for management companies and for on-site managers, really more for on-site managers for classified ads. You can Google to find management companies. You can do Craigslist. Craigslist, again, be more for on-site staff. But again, there's a distinction. You're going to hire a management company to supervise and an on-site manager to do on-site management. But the number one preference is always get referrals. All right, steps 2 and 3 of the cookbook was you interview and you choose them. All right? Now, I'm going to give you some questions here, some interview questions. And they're on the resource vault now. But I will tell you there's, I think, 15 or so questions on this interview sheet. I will tell you I've used this to do, well, I've developed this list myself through the School of Hard Knocks, and been, I share it with my students. The feedback I had one student who took this list, and they were interviewing a very large management company which manages tens of thousands of doors nationwide. They were interviewing this company for a project they were doing, and they basically followed the interview questions, the same ones I'm about to give you, and at the end of the interview, the management company said, this is the most comprehensive. Well, it's based upon a decade of experience, my experience, in sorting through the good from the bad in finding out how to determine the best management company. So I want to share it with you right now. Okay, and there are, how many questions are on this sheet? Let's see. 15. Here are the questions you're going to ask. All right, number 1, how long have you managed property in this area? Number 2, what kind of management license do you have? Do they have a license? Have they gotten any special certifications? Like, are you a certified IREM? They will have gotten certification, which means they've done some extra effort in being trained. Are you bonded and or insured? Number 4. Number 5, can I see some property you currently manage? That's an important one. I want to see what they're managing right now, how good a job they're doing. Number 6, they have references. Obviously, you want to get references. It's kind of interesting. I asked it to a person one time. He gave me a reference to someone. I called up the reference. The reference said, I'm surprised he gave you my name. I fired him. So you never know what you may get. Number 7, what's their compensation model? What they going to charge? Is there a commission for renewed leases? Typically, you don't want to pay, on renewed leases, you don't want to pay any kind of leasing commission. It's just a standard. They just collect their standard percentage. Can I see a sample of your management contract? If you want to see what their contract says. One thing I would say on contracts, your management contract, never do a one-year contract. At best, you want to do a 90-day with a month-to-month. Do it 1 year. If someone doesn't work out, I want you to be able to get rid of them fast. So I might give someone 90 days, but then after that, it's month-to-month. The current contract we have on one of our largest deals is just month-to-month. Okay, let's scroll up. Number 9, how often are the management contracts renewed? What I mean by that is I'm going to put you on a month-to-month, not a yearly contract. Number 10, this is not a question, but you want to check them against the Chamber of Commerce, the Realty Board, and the Better Business Bureau, see if there's been any complaints. Number 11, what's their Class C experience? If you're doing a Class C property, I want to find someone who has Class C experience. There's no point hiring a company that's strictly focused on Class A assets to have them manage Class C. Number 12, again, if I'm doing Class C, I'm going to ask, do they have any Section 8 experience? Do they have experience dealing with the Section 8 department, getting paid? Number 13, have you managed properties in size? Number 14, can you show me your sample management reports? This is an important one because, I want to see what kind of culture they have. Can they quickly produce sample management reports? I want to see how deep and how detailed their reports are, because that's how I'm going to keep tabs on my business, is through their management reports. 15, there's actually more than 15 items here. What are your marketing methods for leasing? This is, again, the single most important question. This is what I was alluding to a moment ago. How many methods do they have for leasing? And hopefully they've got at least 4, which means they have somewhat of a sense of marketing. Number 16, how many Class C units do you manage? Again, that's kind of related to number 11. Number 17, what vendor discounts can you offer me? This is an important one. One of the ways that you can cut expenses on a property is if you hire a management company that is maybe managing a few thousand doors in the area through numerous owners. Well, because they have such a high volume of units under management, they've been able to negotiate volume discounts with different vendors, and they can pass those savings on to you. It's one of the main advantages of using management companies. You get economies of scale on your cost. Same thing on number 18. Do you have a master insurance policy for your clients? You can save a bundle with this. If you have a management company that say they have 2,000 doors under management with 15 different owners, they can go to an insurance company, they should have already done this, and get a master insurance policy for those 2,000 units with sub-policies for each individual owner, and the premium discounts are substantial for that type of scale, and those savings get passed directly on to you as the individual owner. Matter of fact, the savings can pay the management fee in some cases on the insurance discount. So that's a key one as well. So there's your, I was wrong, 18, not 15 questions to use in your interview process. All right, so that's how we interview, and then we choose based on who gives us the best responses. And I would not choose, again, I would not choose based upon who's the cheapest. I guess if everything else was equal, I would choose on that. But you're never going to find everything being equal. And so I'm looking for who's going to be the strongest in filling my property and keeping me apprised of what's going on through a culture of having management reports. Which leads to the fourth step in the cookbook, is managing them. Because we manage them through a reporting process. We're not going to run after the property every time we want to see something. No, I want to see the reports. And here are 6 key reports at a minimum that you want to have to manage the managers. Number 1, you want to get the profit and loss on a monthly basis. And it'll be actually be the trailing 12 months. profit and loss. You want to see what the profit and loss was for the previous month, and you want to see what it was on a trailing 12-month basis. That's the income and the expenses. Now, this is kind of a looking in the rearview mirror, because this is what happened last month. Typically, they'll send the reports out, on the 10th or the 12th for what happened last month. So it's already history. But I need this information to keep somewhat of a tab on what's going on. I also want to see the check register. I get that monthly, or I can actually go online, and I want to see where the checks are going. I want to see whose money's flowing to. I want to get a sense of, if I see a lot of bills going to a plumber, maybe I got a plumbing problem. But I want to see, who the money is going to and what kind of amounts. Number 3, I want to see an occupancy and traffic report. And I want this on a weekly basis. This is more of my pulse on what's going on in the property. I want to see what my current occupancy is, and I want to see how much traffic we had come in last week and the sources of that traffic, which is about marketing. Are we getting adequate enough traffic to keep the property's occupancy up? So that's more, on a weekly basis. Every Monday that report comes out for the previous week. Then I want to see a maintenance work order report on a weekly basis. This is a simple report which shows what maintenance requests were issued by the residents, there was a work order issued, and what was the response, and how long did it take for that work order to be closed out. Because it's about respect. And I want to make sure that we're having timely response to the work order requests that are coming in. I'm going to keep an eye on that through the maintenance work order reports. Collections report. I want to see this on a weekly basis. I want to see the monies that were collected and deposits that were made. And finally, I want to see the inventory report, which is, inventory report is what all the equipment we have on hand. Because I want to know that somebody's keeping a tabs on all the equipment. What I don't want to have is the property buying supplies for make-readies, and we've got a maintenance person who's walking out the back door redecorating his house with my supplies. So make sure there's an inventory report being kept. This is, monthly basis. Now, I'm getting this information, a lot of it on a weekly basis. Am I looking at it every week? Not necessarily. But I want them to get it to me every week, weekly basis, so that I can look at it and keep a tab on it when I choose. Now, there's other reports you can receive, but these are the minimum that you want to get. Just like managing any business, you do it through the reports. Do it through the reports. Now, in addition, when it comes to management, typically the management company is paying the bills, they're writing the checks. Historically, I only allow them to use my bank, so I have control over the account, and I have online access to the property account. I can see which checks are being cut. I can see the money coming in, the money coming out, going out by going in online. You want to make sure you have very strict expense approval. The management company should, their guidelines for spending should be spelled out, and they should be very tight. I mean, they have to come back to us for any kind of, capital improvements of any significance. They can do routine maintenance. They can pay the utility bills. But I want to have very strict expense control, because this can go haywire on us. And then what I've also done in cases have weekly phone meetings with the on-site manager just to do a touch base with them. Maybe go over the weekly occupancy and traffic report just to maintain a pulse of what's going on. That's not always the case, but this is, if especially if you're starting off, I would encourage this for you. Do not, it's just like with the due diligence, do not sit back and wait for your management reports to come in at the end of the month to say, what's going on with my property this month? I don't want you doing that. I want you to keep closer tab on staying engaged by looking at the weekly reports and then calling in to ask questions about the weekly reports. If you see occupancy falling off, if you see traffic falling off, that deserves a phone call from you to ask, what are they doing to improve traffic? Now, let me shoot off, warning Will Robinson. here's the things I want you to look out for. This comes from the category of the School of Hard Knocks, because this is where you have to be careful. Remember I talked about very strict expense control. One thing you want to keep an eye out for is, there could be an on-site manager or a management company where they buy with no regard to revenue, which to me is unconscionable, but it happens. That's why you want to have strict expense control. Where somebody is, I actually had a case where someone bought 15 thermostats in a 50-unit property. 15 thermostats, they thought we needed to have 15 on hand. 15, they're sitting on the shelf collecting dust. That's just capital going out the door. Another item, sometimes you may have management companies where they have no expense control. I've had to suffer through that. You can also do things where you control the checks on your properties, where you're actually the one signing the checks. Now, I hate for it to come to this, but I've done this on properties where I'm the one that signed the check, so I can see what money's going out. And then you want to have a written policy about what they can order with or without your approval. Again, you don't want to see 15 thermostats sitting on your inventory in your property. Now, I hate to say this, but on occasion, people will steal. Surprise. And my experience is that anytime cash is involved, it will get stolen. So if you allow, your policy has to be no cash for rent, 0, because it will disappear. And that's one of the ways that on-site managers steal, is they collect cash. And so you require money orders. We require money orders. Another way they can steal is they will lease empty units and report them as vacant. You'll be getting this report, Unit 37 is vacant. Well, Unit 37, they move somebody in, they're collecting the rent by their own and pocketing it themselves. So one of the ways you guard against that is having, you have to have someone to inspect the vacant units. A third party inspect the vacant units. I've actually had on-site equipment stolen and pawned by on-site managers. That's why I want to have an inventory report. Make sure things are on hand. The other thing you need to look out for, and this is true of any situation where someone's working for you, is lack of initiative. They're just sitting around not doing their job. And you guard that through the management reports and through the weekly phone contact. If you find that someone's lacking the initiative and they're just not following through, they're not being responsive, then you replace them. That's simple. But this is what I want you to look out for. And again, this is a decade of experience rolled into one slide of the major things to keep an eye out for. All right, that's property management. Who has questions on that? Let's see. We got some questions that came in from Brian, who had already read ahead in the property management section. And let me step through these real quick. Brian asked, what is TREC? This is something I talk about in the home study course. TREC, T-R-E-C. That's the Texas Real Estate Commission. Question number 2, do you have any requirements of Section 8 tenants? That is, do they have to be working in order for you to rent to them? Yes, they have to have a job. Section 8. Section 8 is a program where the government subsidizes the rent. Well, the government will pay 70 to 100% of the resident's rent. And we'll accept Section 8 vouchers, but I will only accept Section 8 vouchers for someone who has a job. Next question. What are the least amount of units an apartment building must have in order for you to have a property manager? Well, I mean, you can have a property manager, an off-site property manager on as small as a duplex. In order to have an on-site property manager, it really takes about 50 or 60 doors, 50 or 60 units to justify the expense of an on-site manager. The exception to that would be if you did some kind of deal where you gave one of your residents a rent break. Let's say you had a 10-unit you gave one of your residents a discount on rent in order to collect the rents for you and just open up units and show them for you. Number 4, what are the criteria for having an off-site versus on-site property manager? We just talked about that. Here's question number 5. In the example regarding your 72-unit apartment building, does the 5% of the actual collections only go to the off-site supervisory or the property management firm? Yes. So again, if you got, let's say you were paying 5% collections to the management company, that goes to the management collections, and then the salary for the manager is paid by the property out of the NOI. Question number 6, what are the green sheets you referenced in module number 6 regarding the use of them as a means for advertising for tenants? Oh, green sheet is a local newspaper. It's kind of like a Thrifty Nickel, the free advertising newspaper. That's what I mean by green sheets. Question number 7, is it true that you put a banner sign on one of your apartment buildings reading 90% occupied? No, never did that. Question number 8, what are custom reports which can be obtained from property management companies? I'm not sure what the custom reports are, other than those reports I just showed are the minimum reports you need. Now, management companies, when they're using management software, they can customize reports to have just about anything you want to see. So you can have custom reports showing anything. And there's a lot more reports that the management software will produce for you typically. Those what you want for your management company. Question number 9, we're looking at the P&L from the previous month. You compare it to an average of P&L statements from the 12 previous months. Yes, you're comparing you want to see how your P&L is trending. That's why we look at the trailing 12 to see if we're going up or down on NOI. Final question, how do you feel about the idea of using Liberty Personnel as a source for recruiting a property manager as a temporary or permanent prospect? Well, if Liberty Personnel is like a sourcing agency, you can use sourcing companies to hire on-site managers, but you'll end up paying way too much because any kind of sourcing company is going to add their fee. I had a case one time where the sourcing company wanted $20 per hour for an on-site manager. They would collect $20 an hour. They paid her $10. Well, gee, why can't I just pay her $10? And so I went out and found my own on-site manager. So I don't use nor recommend the use of sourcing. Unless you're in some kind of jam, you need someone really fast on a very short-term basis. You can use a sourcing agency to get an on-site manager in place. But I'd rather be using Craigslist and other advertising sources to find on-site managers. Okay, let's see. There's some other questions that came in. Thank you for those questions, Brian. Hope I answered all those questions for you. Okay, there's a couple questions from Brandon. Brandon asked, do you hire someone to review your property management reports, or do you look at it each yourself? Oh, I look at them. No, I look at them. I want to see it. I want to see it because, as the owner, I will see things that someone else might not see. So I look at them. I'm the asset manager. Then the second question from Brandon, for maintenance, you mentioned timely responses. What is a timely response for work orders? That's a great question. I think, depending on the work order, no more than 3 days. And it should be less than that. I mean, no more than 3 days. 3 days is starting to get long. So I want to see like 1 and 2 day, same-day type responses or 2-day type responses. You're talking about things like, I don't know, leaky faucet, toilet stuck, refrigerator's gone out. It's these type of things, light bulbs or whatever. If they're not, if it's a major thing like a plumbing line broke, well, still that's an emergency, so you need to get that taken care of. So really, it's getting to be long. Thank you for those questions, Brandon. Let's see. Here's a question from, what's the legality of keeping tenants from telling other tenants what their rents are? I don't know how you stop that. That's an interesting question. They're going to talk to each other, and they will talk to each other all the time. So you can't. I don't know. I've never had that come up. I don't know how you can even enforce that. So I wouldn't even try to do that. Okay. Here's one from Brian. Can you give an example of bonus you would give for collection and occupancy bonuses? I don't know. Let's see. If an on-site manager keeps a property, give them I don't know, $500 a month bonus, or give them an extra bonus per unit. They collect over 90% economic occupancy. You just need to run the numbers depending upon the scale of the size of the property. But it does not be a walking bonus, I guess, is the best response I could give. Just a token bonus to show appreciation, to get them to go the extra mile. It's more the expression of it that is important than the amount, if that makes sense. It's funny that money is not necessarily a big motivator for a lot of people, but it's the idea of a bonus being recognized for going above and beyond. That's what's important to a lot of people.